And speaking of interior design, this morning it's all about matters lifestyle, and we'll be talking about what one specific lady has been doing in terms of that. What you've just seen is something that gives us a glimpse of what we'll be talking about this morning. I'm joined by Noni Wanyi. She is an interior architect and designer. Thank you
Yes.
very much for coming. Karibu sana.
Thank you for having me.
And
Yes.
she's one lady who has done a lot. We'll be talking about what she's doing, especially in the world of architecture, interior architect and design, and especially one thing that she is like an icing on the top. She plays golf. So that's quite interesting. She'll be telling us more about that. But be part of this conversation. Remember, the SMS line is up and running. Also on Twitter, the hashtag is Good Morning Kenya. Tag me at Ramaguko, at KBC Television, and at Jane Wambui. Remember, the hashtag, as always, is Good Morning Kenya. Welcome. This is the lifestyle segment. My name is Ram Aguko. If you're just joining us, remember, as we talk about these issues to do with interior design, maybe you can also be, tell us what you think about design, about what you are doing, about what she is doing as you continue this morning conversation. But Noni, I'm taken aback to just look at the kind of work you're doing, but I'd like to start from the design part, from the you being an interior architect and designer. Um, how did your journey start to the point that now you are where you are in terms of interior design?
Well, I started out by going to school
Mm-hmm.
in California,
Mm-hmm.
where I was in San Jose State University.
Okay.
So in San Jose State University, basically you were excited about design
Mm-hmm.
and being able to practice. So the way the business started is that we lived in a place called Tracy, California. But where we worked, it was maybe a 2 hour commute. And it was so far, and the traffic was so bad. So it just made sense to open your own business near your home so that it was easy to maneuver. And speaking about that, we had 3 kids. So
Okay. Oh.
trying to maneuver 3 children
Uh-huh.
and work for a company that's very demanding and go through traffic on a daily basis just called more of a personal understanding where you are in life and to be able to say, look, I can actually do what I love to do and start my own business. So that
Well,
happened in 2000.
2000.
Yes.
The year 2000. That's when you
Yes.
started the business.
Yes.
But you said you went to school.
Yes.
You learned about interior.
Yes.
What course did you do at the university?
What courses did I do?
Yeah, or the course that you did
Well,
at the university.
basically, it's interior design that I started with, space planning. And by the way, it just happened to have been the thing to do.
You loved
I
it?
had-
Passionate?
It didn't quite start like that. I just loved art from the
Okay.
beginning,
Yeah.
But I lived with my father in California. And while I was there, I was just being a teenager that loves to be in California, driving
Uh-huh.
around, having friends, and my dad was like mind boggled. When are you going to college?
He was supporting you. He was supportive of everything that you wanted to do, this interior design. And
Well,
I'm looking at how African fathers can be. You tell them you want to do design, they'll be telling you you're not serious.
yeah, well, he just wanted me to go to school. He just wanted me to just go to college, do something. So I
Wow.
walked into the school. It was known as Chabot College in Hayward, California. And I went to the counselor and I said, my father wants me to get educated. Can
Wow.
you just tell me what is the easiest thing I can do?
Uh-huh.
And so we went through a list of programs. Statistics, has to do with math. I said, I want to do something fun. I don't want to think. I just want to do something fun.
The numbers are not your thing.
Yeah, and as she went down the line, she says,
Yeah.
there's nothing easy.
Okay.
Everything is difficult.
Nothing is easy.
Nothing is easy. But I have to go to school. So I said, okay, fine. She said, what do you like to do? I said, I like art. And she said, okay, well, we've got a couple programs that have to do with art in the humanities section.
So at first it wasn't because of passion. You're looking for some sense of education. And
Yes.
then you got the passion as you continued the journey.
Yes. So she kind of pulled it out of me. Like, what do you like to do? And so she wanted to find out what I had passion for. And so art came across, and therefore design came into play. And I said, okay, fine, I'll register if it makes my dad happy. But it wasn't until I started actually working in class that my instructor, Gus, came to me and said, have you done drafting before? And I said, no, never. And he said, well, you're so good at it. And it was just one of those things when someone mentions that you're good at something, you only try to get better.
At some point, as you're going through that whole process, that whole journey of, I can call it self-discovery.
Yes.
Finding out that actually there is something that can come out of you that's someone else has noticed that you did not know.
Right.
You talk about the teacher, the lecturer
Yes.
saying that you must be good in this.
Yes.
That's when you discover that I can actually do something more
Yes.
with what I am doing. But now I'm looking at the aspect of interior design as a whole, and wondering, when someone goes through that's the process of education, going through to school to learn about interior design, some look at it as an easy course to do, some look at it as a course that is for the weak. Is it something that you can just do it because you're passionate? Is it a course that because some people look at interior design as a course for failures? If at all you would go to someone and then they tell you you hear that they did interior design, there's this perception from the society that only those who have done statistics are better than those who have done interior design,
Yeah.
based on the name. Do you agree with that notion?
Well, I think, looking at best of both worlds, I think Kenya has a long way to go to be able to appreciate interior designers. Interior designer is a person that is very compassionate and very enthusiastic. You have to be extremely creative to be able to focus and understand what the end result will be before you even budget for it, before you even illustrate it on paper. That is a place where I would say is the most difficult. Coming up with a concept, but not necessarily copying an idea.
It has to be original,
Okay.
in a way.
The ideas are there as inspirations, but ideas are not to be copied. They're supposed to be there to inspire you, and you grow from that and you create concepts. And that is the most difficult things that people are not able to do. They're not able to take something and have it result into a beautiful thing by creating something on your own. And so it becomes a little bit mind-boggling that people think design is just, give me some furniture or lay out some color.
It's not as easy as it looks.
It isn't, because it involves a whole entire consortium. You have your architect, you have your mechanical engineer, electrical engineer, and they're focused on making sure you have your plumbing, electricity is running. Your job is to make sure that the space will look good while accommodating everything everyone else has to do. So you are the center of the entire architecture as far as the interior is concerned. So a structural engineer will lay his beams, his columns, and the mechanical engineer will come in with his pipes, and he really isn't paying attention to how the space is going to wind up looking like because
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
running his pipes. His concern is that his angles are correct and the water will flow.
Yeah.
Okay? And he's getting water to where it needs to go, whether it's in the kitchen, in the bathrooms, and they have to go through all these spaces. But we're looking at the overall aesthetics of the space. And you have to remind them, because this is my main, for example, lobby, I cannot have a beam sticking out and I cannot have a pipe sticking out. It is your job as the interior designer to be able to create maybe a ceiling or a finish type. It is your job to create a focal area that doesn't fight with another area. It is your job to create the colors that will come together. And so I would say anyone who's downplaying interior design is completely out of line.
Out of line.
Out of line.
We have
And
not yet, known the value of interior design and how expensive it is, especially for someone who is going through that whole journey, that whole
yeah,
process.
I would like to say a person who does not use a professional interior designer, who does not use a professional interior architect, would probably be spending more money than having one that actually has an interior designer.
Wow.
Interior designers are there to save you money. They're not there to make you spend money. It just seems that if you have an interior designer in your project, you must be spending a lot. But in actual fact, they're actually saving you money from, for example, putting your lights on. Okay? The engineer will come in and place your lights, but he's not really concerned about where your sitting will be. So, in my
that's
opinion,
where the interior design comes in.
yes, we're task-oriented people. So we feel like if you're performing a task in a certain area, you need lighting. So I will move the light. Well, 9 out of 10 times when you're building a building and you're putting all your wiring, it comes in. You then later realize after you've had your gypsum ceiling board done that, oh my gosh, we need to move the light to where the sitting is. And therefore, you start now thinking about time, labor, material. Well, if you had an interior designer, that would have been taken care of a long time ago, and you'd have just had your work done.
But now you're
but
going
now
through
you have
more
to
expenses.
rip off what you had before, and now you have to do it again, and then do it correctly. So you're buying double the material.
Wow.
Okay.
And that's where the interior designer comes in play.
Then there's a hierarchy of the space. Non-professional people or people who think that, I like this, so I'll put it in my space. I like that, I'll put it in my space. But together, they do not harmonize. They don't come together. The things that you're putting together are not talking. So how is it that you create a space that will have things that harmonize? How do you separate the hierarchy from a busy area to a non-busy area and make them work together? How do you decorate a space by being simple and not complicated? Okay? So with that, design becomes very complicated and it becomes difficult to understand. And not anyone can do design, otherwise it wouldn't be a profession.
Well, someone like me can't. Well, the colors, well, it will be a rainbow.
Yeah.
but you just put the value that is there in interior designing. We should not take it for granted, ladies and gentlemen. It's something that someone has gone through some late night trying to find out how best do I get this design.
Right.
But now, as you started that whole process, because something like this, it is not something that you do just for the sake of the money. It is more than just money for you to go through that whole mind-boggling process. It needs passion. At what point did you realize that actually this is something that I'm passionate about? Because at first you started as something that you wanted just to go to school and get some form of education, but there was a point in time that you became passionate about it. At what point did you realize that this is something that I really want to do?
Actually, it started from the get-go.
Uh-huh.
From the day one, it felt more that I was busy having fun in California, being a
Uh-huh.
teenage,
Yeah, yeah.
in Hayward, and my father was an affluent kind of person who just would let you do things.
Mm-hmm.
He would discuss with you, and he would reason, where do you want to go? Here's my car, drive.
Go have fun.
Yeah, go have fun. So
Oh,
I was busy driving around California.
such a father.
I was in San Francisco, and
Mm-hmm.
just being in a place of my own space.
Mm-hmm.
But then this thing came along, and soon enough I started to enjoy school. And
Uh-huh.
my friends would look for me and wonder, what the heck are you doing? Why are you not hanging out with us?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm in school. Because I'm loving what
I love what I
I'm
do.
loving what I'm doing. And so that carried on, and and the art of being creative
Mm.
never ends. You go places, and you make mistakes,
Mm-hmm.
and those mistakes become your ideas, and they become your what ifs. What if I
Mm-hmm.
do this? What if I do that? And then the ability to be able to express was another one.
Mm-hmm.
you know, um, to be able to tell your story about design, because design is also an experience. It's
Mm-hmm.
a story, it's a passion, it's your enthusiasm, why
Mm-hmm.
you don't sleep at night, why you
Mm.
wake up 3 o'clock in the morning and send messages to people because you want to make sure you don't forget the next
Yeah,
day.
yeah, yeah.
And so that gives you the drive.
Mm-hmm.
And then creativity has no end to it. You can be as creative as as you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And you can travel and see things that you can come back and implement.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the thing about me, when after being there for so long, I finally decided, you know what, it's time to go home. It's
Yeah.
time to go back home.
Mm-hmm.
It's time to apply my passion in this country the same way I did in that country. And to me, it just felt like I was going to give my country a lot more of my passion,
Mm-hmm.
my ideas, my enthusiasm, and how else was I supposed to do it?
And by your country, you're talking about now here, Kenya.
Kenya, of course. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I'm
You,
Kenyan. Yeah.
you said you are Noni.
Yes.
Noni meaning
Noni
uh,
Wanye.
the full name of Noni. Yeah?
Mothoni.
Mudhoni.
Yes.
Hey, noma sana.
Yeah.
So you went through that whole process, and I love it that it is passion that was driving you, the love for the you know I can call it this art.
Yes.
At what point were you going to were you able to how exactly did you turn it into a business? Because now you are you've gone through that whole process of turning it into a business. You're now an entrepreneur. You're doing it all the way. How did you turn it around to become a money making process for you, all the way from what it was just coming in from passion?
Yeah, well, again, it just started out by having a job, looking for a job and getting a job. And, like I said, the commute was just horrendous.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And instead of driving my spirits up,
Mm.
it was literally driving my spirits down, because you're in traffic for such a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to go home and you have to cook, you have to help the kids with homework,
Mm-hmm.
you have to pick them up from school,
Mm-hmm.
and it just did not work out. And so it started turning out to be more like a failing process. And with that failing process, and I have this thing where I say whenever I fail,
Mm-hmm.
it's always a step up to being successful.
What was it that felt like a failing process?
The fact that you couldn't get back home on time
Mm.
to be able to do that homework
Yeah.
with your children, because
Mm-hmm.
my kids were very young at that time.
Mm-hmm.
I have 3 kids,
Mm-hmm.
2 girls, 1 boy.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
Take those on board.
Yeah,
Nice.
and just being there for them, that my passion for being an interior designer
Mm-hmm.
is almost as equal as being passionate about being a
A
mom.
mom. Mm-hmm.
And so my kids would get homework in school,
Mm-hmm.
and if it had anything to do with art, I
Mm-hmm.
would basically sit down and make
Mm-hmm.
it my project. And so I remember, you know, taking over
Mm.
projects from my kids,
Wow.
just being so passionate about what they're doing
Mm-hmm.
and doing the whole entire homework. And they're just standing there like, Mom, are we done with our homework? And I would realize, oh my gosh,
It is you
it
who's
wasn't
doing
my
it.
homework, it was your homework. So we'd have to like sort of work it out together so that they
Uh-huh.
can do their homework and we can take it back to school as
Wow.
their
Mm-hmm.
own rather than mine.
Other than yours.
And a couple of times, I want to be honest, we got in trouble because mom put too much of her effort in
Mm-hmm.
their homework.
And they had no clue what was
Yeah,
what was being written on their
yeah.
homework.
So the failing part was being an interior designer in working in Oakland
Uh-huh.
on Hagenbugger Road and being a mom, it was affecting me and it was ruining my life as a mom.
Mm-hmm.
And it was all based on commute. So I thought, why can't I be a mom and start my own business
Mm-hmm.
and still do what I like to do and pretty much call my own shots, you
You,
know?
you had to leave the job that you're
Yes,
doing
I had to
at
resign.
Auckland.
Yes,
You resigned
yes,
for the sake of your kids.
yes,
That's passion.
yes,
That's passion. And
yes.
and how are you able to pick it up? Because there's that gap that I don't know if you felt any gap that was there from leaving the job that you were doing
Yeah.
throughout the whole period till you were able to become stable with the business that you started.
Well, it wasn't easy. Design is very competitive in United States, and a lot of people value designers in the U.S. But you don't just come across as a decorator and fit within design.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we have associations like NKBA, which is the National Kitchen and Bath Association. Then there was the ASID, which is the Interior Design Organization. And right now in Kenya, we are trying to put together organizations such as that
Mm-hmm.
that will help put proper interior designers to the forefront and divide the actual professional designers with the non-designers, the decorators who want to claim within the same industry, but wind up being people who make decisions on other people's money and
Uh-huh.
can cause disasters, if you don't hire the right person.
And this
So,
ends up harming those people who use
yeah,
their money on this.
as a profession,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So interior design needs to grow in Kenya and to be able to accommodate designers and to demand the right certifications for people to be able to practice in the right manner.
Mm-hmm.
And then that way it will completely remove the idea of it's just a passion that I like to do. You
Uh-huh.
also have to have the professional side of it. You
Mm-hmm.
have to have the technical side of it. You have to be able to be creative.
Don't just be
Okay?
passionate and leave it there.
Exactly, because passion is good,
Mm-hmm.
but it actually does not give you the knowledge. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Education will give you the knowledge, right? So you have to go through these things, and I want to say the difference between an interior designer as well as an interior architect are also different
Mm-hmm.
because through the struggle, I found myself struggling.
Mm-hmm.
After about maybe 7 or 8 years within the industry, you find that you're being left behind because technology is taking place.
Mm-hmm.
People are giving you competition because they're presenting designs that can show the end results. Okay? So when you look at the building, you're seeing technology moving forward.
So you're always behind when it comes to
Yeah, because at that time we were using AutoCAD, and AutoCAD was a lined sort of a program that you draw each line to be able to bring your design together. And remember, when I said I was in school, I was drafting. So our initial drawings were by hand. Okay.
Yeah.
Then we moved on to drawing on computer. But then technology started moving forward, and now it's not only being able to show you the technical drawings, but it's being able to convert them into 3D drawings, convert them into rendering illustrations, and being able to create 3D illustrations that you can actually walk through. So the client can feel in touch with their space before they spend their money. Okay? They can dream about this whole dream about what they're going to receive. And also understanding the space that you create is not yours. You are a temporary person who has been hired to work for the client. Okay? So when you design, you also retrieve information about what the client is passionate about and what they like. Okay? And in that, you have to fit their budget into the design. So a good designer designs in budget, but gives you more where the art is concerned with the lower budget. Okay? If you're spending too much in design, then you're probably not accomplishing what you need to accomplish.
Some end up, going through lots of expenses, yet the art part of it is not felt.
Yeah, and one of them is the lack of resource. You know, if a designer is not resourceful, then you're limited to what the designer can be able to show you.
So for you, that whole process of getting to kickstart your business, taking off, and balancing it from being a mother and at the same time having a business, the smooth transition. How are you able to crack that to break that glass ceiling?
Well, first of all, I had to understand that as technology moves forward, I need to move forward with it.
Yeah.
Okay?
You need to catch up.
To catch up. So I came home and in 2007, and I had just lost my father.
Oh, sorry.
And so I went back with this focus in my mind that, I've got this journey back to United States that I had called home for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, where am I going? Where am I going? For the first time, I realized I was going to no man's land because Kenya was beautiful. Kenya was in with the times. It had everything California had. And so I felt like I wasn't losing anything. In fact, I was gaining more. I was gaining family. And family was important to me. So I thought, I need to go back to school. I need to keep up with the times. So I went back, I re-registered. But this time, I thought, I want to be an architect. Wow.
So a different angle.
A different angle. And so I went back to the counselor at San Jose State, and I said, I want to be, an architect. And I found out that it wasn't easy to be an architect, especially at my age. So we kind of bounced around and said, hey, why don't you do interior architecture? And I said, what's that? It takes you more into the constructive, technical, the ideas of creating the space, in detail, 4 walls, ceiling, and a floor, and technically being able to demonstrate and illustrate it to the client. And so I thought, why not?
But not so far now. Going through. Let me now fast forward.
Yes.
When you look at your business? How is it doing it as of now when it comes to being an interior? And as you talk about that, maybe you can start from getting to differentiate for us, for the benefit of the viewer, the difference between an interior architect and an interior designer, because you said they're different.
Yeah, before, being an interior designer, the client will call you once the structure is all done.
Yes.
Okay? And then they would say, look, now make my space beautiful.
Mm.
Okay? So you were so limited to what you could do because the building has already been created.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a matter of, let me choose your furniture, let me choose your colors, let me get some plants inside the space,
Mm-hmm.
and voila, we're done. Okay? Then it went back to now being a little bit more progressive, where you're saying, okay, I want my kitchen designed and designed well. So
Mm-hmm.
then you go into the detailing, the sections, the details, um, the lighting. How does the lighting affect my kitchen?
Okay.
Where am I doing my work?
Mm-hmm.
Where do I need my light? Okay. The plumbing. Am I putting my bathroom in the right area? Am I space planning my area in the right section?
So that is the work of the interior architect.
Yes. So when you're an interior architect, you're moving around these things. Okay. You can move walls on paper. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Before you even break ground. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You can coordinate with mechanical, electrical engineer.
Mm-hmm.
You can show the client what they're going to have
Mm-hmm.
before the building is up.
So in a nutshell, it's all about changing the whole
The
structure,
interior. Yeah. So
the whole
the
interior of the
architect
building.
is
Mm-hmm.
pretty much your guide ahead of you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's like your boss, okay, where the building is concerned. So once he builds the building, you have to now think in detail how that space is going to be used and how that space is going to look and how people are going to engage within the space when they come in and what will be exciting, what will be their experience when they walk in, how will they feel when they walk in.
How is your business doing so far?
Yeah, so
Nani?
by upping the game a little
Yeah.
bit, sets you up in the market, sets you a little bit apart from the market. So when the client is looking for an interior designer, it's not just an interior designer. You have to be able to illustrate your drawings on paper so that they are understood by the contractor, the architect, the engineers, structural, mechanical, electrical. All these people have to understand your drawings without you being there.
Wow, yeah.
Yes,
It should
without
be
you being there.
self-explanatory.
Yes, because when we meet on site, we meet every other week. Okay? Meanwhile, you have 14 days where you have a lot of work going on. How is that work interpreted when you're not there?
No.
Okay? We use drawings to be able to interpret that. How does this wall look like? Your drawings have to be a language that is spoken, a technical language that is spoken in the field that can be understood by anyone working in the field.
Now, let me grab a different angle. You are also a lady captain of Sigona Golf Club.
Yes.
How did you get from interior design and architect, being
Yeah.
an interior design and architect, to golf?
Yeah.
I don't understand how that mixes together.
Yeah. Well, when we were in college, and when you applied for college,
Mm.
the most interesting things were that just your grades were not good enough to go
Oh.
into university. Yes.
Your grades are not good enough.
Your grades are not good enough. Your grades were valued with your sports activity. The colleges would ask you, what else do you do apart from your education? Yes, we can see you're an A student or a B student, but what else do you do? Do you play any sport? Why? Because they want to make sure that people who are working within their businesses don't wind up being overweight, because that is one of the biggest problems in the world. When you're overweight, then you get heart diseases.
All work and
When
no
you
play.
get exactly. So they want to be able to have people who are active,
Mhm.
okay, and who have an understanding, and your mind can grow as you work. So, and then beyond that, they would say, do you do any community services?
Mhm.
So then that got you going, where you work, you have a family, you need a sport, and you need to be involved in the community. So when you're a person working with so many things, you
Mhm.
learn to be disciplined. You
Uh-huh.
learn to incorporate
Mhm.
other things in your life that you thought you didn't have time for. And so you start to realize that, wait a minute, I have 24 hours. And within those 24 hours, what can I do? Well, I have 8 to work, 8 to sleep, but there's this other 8 hours that I have. What do I do with my extra 8 hours?
Now, how was
Yeah.
this, coming of benefit to you as an individual playing golf?
Well, it just didn't start that way. I was curious at first
Mm. Okay.
because people around me were playing golf. Kenyans were playing golf.
Yeah.
Kenyans started a, a small little golf, um, what did I say, golf group
Mhm.
called the Uhuru Open.
Mhm.
It was
Okay.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the guys realized that they were spending so much time. When you're in a country
Mhm.
away from your home in the diaspora, you find that your friends become your family. And then you look forward to seeing
Mhm.
your family on the weekend.
Mhm.
And so these group of guys met together for a long time, and they were having fun, barbecuing, things that Kenyans like to do on the weekend.
Mm.
Then one day they thought, why don't we play golf? Why don't we start to play golf? So then people like me start to be a little curious. Why can't you have ladies playing golf too?
Ah.
Yeah. So I went shopping one day, and I was shopping, grocery shopping, and I saw a set of clubs. And
Bought
my
them.
kids say, "Oh, mommy, look, these are they're clubs. Like daddy plays golf." So I said, "Oh, okay, forget it. He's not here." So I ran around. Then by the time I finished shopping,
Mhm.
these children were running around everywhere.
All
And I
right.
was busy, stuck with all these kids.
Now, as we bring this discussion to a close, I
Yeah.
would like you to maybe have a final word with regards to this. What would be your, what should be someone's take home, especially as coming from you as an interior architect and designer, coming from Noni? What would your advice be, especially for the upcoming interior designers?
Passion,
Within a minute. Uh-huh.
yes, passion.
Mm.
Uh, be encouraging to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be a follower.
Mm-hmm.
Learn from your mistakes as they can improve you.
Mm-hmm.
And be enthusiastic as much as you can and
All
make
right.
time for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
most likely, yeah.
All right, that
Yeah.
is Noni Wanye, an interior architect and interior
Design.
designer. Thank you very much, Noni, for finding time to join us this morning. You're on Facebook as?
Revo Design Studios.
All right, so
Yes.
check her out on Facebook as you continue giving us your thoughts with regards to this. Well, that's what brings us to the end of this morning conversation on lifestyle. I was with Noni. She's doing quite some good work. Check her out on Facebook as we continue with this morning conversation. And we are taking a short break. We'll be back in a bit. But remember, coming up next, the viewpoint. This morning, I'll be joined by the governor of Laikipia County, that is His Excellency Honorable Ndiritu Murithi. He is already in studio, so stick around for that after the end of this short break. So keep it. Good morning, Kenya.